Welcome back, everyone, to Issues of Faith. Very happy to have with us Mike Glen. He is the senior pastor at Brentwood Baptist Church. We spoke about the impact this time is having on his church and his view of how it may impact all churches. But I also now want to talk about a book that he wrote recently, Coffee with Mom, Caring for a Patient with Dementia. And Pastor Glen, again, thank you for being with us. There is the book.
Thank you.
You were going to be on and talk about it right before everything kind of shut down with the coronavirus. I saw your tweets about this book. So you're on Twitter, and you would tweet, and the tweets were incredibly personal because they would be quotes that your mom said to you that were sometimes very funny and sometimes heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
But tell me about the book.
The book comes out of my experience of caring for my mom the last 4 years of her life. My father passed away, and then it became evident pretty quickly that there was something wrong with Mom. And so it's the process of going through the diagnosis, getting her to move up here, finding a place for her, and then walking her until she died just a few years ago.
It talks about the struggle of a son who wanted to help but didn't know how. Is that right?
My mom is a force of nature, you know, she was the strength of our home. My dad was creative, and he was always out making something happen. Mom was the anchor of our home, and she is as strong as ammonia. And so to deal with her, you don't ask my mom questions. If you ask my mom a question, she'd assume you didn't know what you were doing and take over your life. And so the conversation in the book comes out of our conversations. Every morning on my way into the church, I would stop and have coffee with her. And most of that comes out of that, out of those conversations, the things she would say to me. Sometimes, and it got worse and worse as the illness ran its course, that she wouldn't remember, or she didn't remember a story, or she didn't remember something we had done yesterday. But she always had these spots where she would remember, and she could remember something I did, you know, years and years ago, and would bring that up to embarrass me or humiliate me in front of my friends and that kind of stuff. So it would be kind of thing like I would be there and go in, and I'd have on jeans, and she looked at me and she said, "You know, your father and I worked our hands to the bone to put you through college, and you look like a field hand." You know, the idea. So it was just, you know, she told a bunch of people at the church she was going to have to find a new church because she didn't like this pastor, and that was me.
So I mean, what did you learn as you wrote it? It's funny, but it's also painful. I mean, I guess.
Oh gosh.
You know.
You know, you love your mom, and you want to take good care of your mom, but you don't know what that is. Every experience is unique, so, you know, you go through all the things, and the doctors say, well, she can't live alone, she can't drive, you have to make all those decisions. But the biggest thing is, am I doing the right thing? Is there another doctor to call? Is there another treatment to try? And you don't know. But here's where I came up. Here's where I finally found some kind of peace. You know, when I showed up in her life, she was 19 years old, living on an Air Force base in Louisiana. And that's when I was born. I didn't have an instruction manual. And she had to figure me out and figure out a way to love me. And I always knew, now my mom was not perfect, but my mom always loved me. And I always knew that regardless of what decision she was making, right or wrong, she was doing it because she thought it was best for me. I always knew that. And now the tables have turned, and the one thing she expected of me, the only thing she needed from me, was to make every decision in her best interest, as best I could. She didn't expect me to be perfect. She just expected me to do my best for her the way she had done for me. And that was where I kind of ended up. You know, okay, I've done the best I can for you, and I hope you know how much I love you.
And I think there's so many people that are so overwhelmed and don't know what to do, and that then leads to them maybe staying away or not going as often. And what you're saying is no one knows. It's incredibly difficult, and just there's a lot of not right or wrong. Just be there. Is that right?
Just be there, and walk with them, because you become the point of reference for them. You're the one thing that they recognize. You're the one thing that they count on. What works today may not work tomorrow. And what didn't work today may work tomorrow. You just don't know. You just have to give yourself that kind of freedom and not think that you're going to have this moment where you make the decision that is once and for all. Because the disease changes too much. And if you're not careful, you'll think you're the one that has Alzheimer's. I mean, there was a couple of conversations where my mom was good enough to fool a lot of people that she had it. And she would turn things around on you, and you would think you were the one who had Alzheimer's.
And that's very interesting. The notion of being there can also be applied to where we are now with so many people. I feel like are they're depressed, and they don't know what's going on, and we talked a little bit about that, what the church can do, but you do have some concerns about mental health, and
right.
What about that?
There are a lot of people who, because of the quarantine, are cut off from their routines, and they're cut off from their natural associations with people, and they need that for a lot of different reasons. And so we've seen depression spike. We have seen domestic issues kind of get spike again. And even we're beginning to see some issues of rising suicide. So what we're telling our church members, and what I'd love to tell the people who are listening now, is don't assume your friends are okay. Make the phone call. Reach out to them in whatever way is appropriate for you, text, email, whatever, but don't assume your friends are okay. Everybody is having a difficult time. Everybody's trying to figure this out. Everybody has at least moments where they're scared to death because of income interruptions, job confusion. Don't assume your friends are okay. Make the phone call. Tell them you're there for them. Again, you don't have to have the right answer. Nobody expects you to. Nobody expects you to call them with, hey, this is how we're going to fix COVID. Nobody looking for that. They just want to know that they're not by themselves. Do you know where I am? Do you know what I'm going through? And will you walk with me a little bit?
That's incredibly important. And there's so many,
right.
I grew up in the church, and there's so many people in church who want to just, no matter what, put their best face forward and say everything's fine. But this is a time where it's okay to say everything may not be okay. And we all do need to reach out and make that call.
And everybody knows 2 or 3 people. You know 2 or 3 people right now you should call. So let me encourage you to call those 2 or 3 people, and then some other names will come to you and follow up with those.
Well, and I like that. We have 1 minute left. Bottom line, I think that's a great takeaway. But what else? What else do you want to leave people with in the minute or so we have left?
Don't waste this crisis. You're having a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to sit down and think through your life, what matters and what doesn't. Don't waste it. Sit down, have the hard discussions with your family. This matters, this doesn't. And if it matters, focus on it. And if it doesn't, let it go. This is a long journey, and you'll travel better if you travel lighter.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I really do. Thank you.
Glad to be in. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us via Zoom. This is Pastor Mike Glen, Senior Pastor at Brentwood Baptist Church. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for watching Issues of Faith. Hope you have a great day, everybody. Hang in there.